Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey. I'm Kelsey Yogi here on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And today we are not getting on our hands, but we're just going to sit right down on our seat. And I'm going to show you how just normal seated positions can help increase your flexibility, your mobility, and get you just all around feeling a little bit better through the hips by just sitting. So I use these kind of postures all the time when I have friends over, we're having a girls' night, we're playing a game, around the table. I will sit in these kinds of positions rather than just, a boring seated position at the couch. Using these different leg positions, you're going to help activate the mobility through the hips, giving you a wider range of motion, and then also, the abductors, the adductors, the hamstrings, getting the muscles nice and long, even the quads, so that you feel a little bit more comfy in your seat, which is what your asana is. It's a comfy seat. So the first one that comes to mind is pretty easy, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. It's a butterfly pose. So maybe your butterfly isn't nice and tight with the knees almost to the floor, but maybe your butterfly pose is way out here and that feels a little bit more conducive to the hips, especially if you can throw a couch pillow on top of it and just kind of lean into it as you're talking to your friends and hearing what they're having to say. Or if it's a little bit too much to lean over that far, take your couch pillow, I know this is a yoga block, and sit on it. That will give you a little bit of height so that you have a little bit more range of motion through the hips. But still, look at this great hip opener that I'm doing. I'm also stretching out those inner thighs, those adductor muscles. It's gonna help you feel a lot better when you're having to sit for long periods of time. So work your butterfly pose when you're just sitting. Another one that is really nice to do, and it's the exact opposite of a butterfly pose, is a hero's pose. So in hero's pose, we are sitting on the shins. You can all the way up on the heels like I'm doing here. But if that's too much and you're not able to do that quite yet, you could always, again, take that yoga block and sit on it, or the couch pillow, or a rolled up blanket or towel. That would totally work too. If those things aren't handy, just tuck your toes underneath you and sit on your heels. You're still getting that internal rotation of the thighs, a little stretch through the quads. You're definitely working the flexibility of the arches and of the toes, which is so good. And those of us that live in Michigan like I do, we are in boots a lot of the year and shoes almost all the time. And so, living in those shoes, you don't get that great toe mobility movement that we need. So sitting on the toes like this, making them flex and stretch is going to be so good for your feet. Now, there's another way to take hero's pose and make it a little bit deeper, which is to open up the heels and sit between your feet. So this is really intense for some of us. Some of us love that external rotation of butterfly. Some of us love internal rotation of hero's pose. But if it's too much for you to sit up, sit between the heels, you can always have your hands down, leaning in a little bit, give yourself some support, or you can sit up on that block to get a little bit of height here, or you don't have to go down this deep. Now, if this is super easy, you can even recline with it a little bit, really stretch out those quads. So you're not gonna think anything weird of your friend when they're sitting in these positions. We just don't. We don't overthink what our friends do, but we do overthink what we do. And you don't need to overthink it. So just sitting in these positions, butterfly, heroes, you are working on having healthier hips, knees, ankles, toes, and all around going to be feeling better in your skin. So don't overthink it. Just when you hang out with your friends, when you're chatting, when you're sitting on the floor, watching TV, sit in these positions and get more mobility through the hips. Another really nice one is Tsukasana, and you guys are all familiar with Tsukasana. It's crisscross applesauce, so we all know this one. So if you guys are playing that card game, you can sit like this at your kitchen table. You can cross your legs and sit up nice and straight. So not only are you getting a gentle hip opener, but you're sitting up nice and tall through the spine, and that's gonna work on having a nice, strong center. So the core, the abs are gonna get strong. Obviously, the butt's doing a little bit of work. The back is activated so that you can sit up nice and tall. Maybe you can't sit like this for hours, but you can sit like this for 15 or 20 minutes. But here's the challenge, switch sides. So if you're always used to putting the right leg in front, every now and then put the left leg in front. And I know it feels really weird and we don't like it, but just try it from time to time. Being yogic, we do want to try to find that balance. So just cross the feet in the weird direction every now and then, and just work the ankle mobility on that other side. Okay, the next posture is pretty easy. So I'm just gonna bend the knees up, and then I'm gonna take one ankle and cross it over the opposite knee. So you're kind of making what looks like a figure 4 shape. Now this is a really nice hip opener, and you can really say how deep you want it to go. So by leaning back, it's really not that intense at all. But sitting up nice and tall, I'm definitely feeling something through that right hip. But if I was chatting with a friend, this would be a really nice way to work on opening up that right hip. Nobody would think anything of that. If you're feeling any pressure through the knee, back away. You can also flex that right ankle if you have the right leg crossed. That'll give you a little bit more space through that right hip. And then you can even take it deeper if you want by wrapping the arms around the other shin, drawing yourself in nice and close. I'm using my arm to kind of keep flexion through that foot. Stay like that for 2 minutes. Take the other side. So we always want to find balance, even if it only feels good on the right and the left side. You're like, oh gosh, ooh wee. Well, that means actually you need 3 minutes on the left side, maybe 4. So just make sure that you're spending equal amounts of time in this figure 4 shape while you are sitting and chatting with your friends. The other one that I would suggest is just this easy seated position. In yoga, in Ashtanga, we call it Tsukasana, letter A. Some people call it, I think when I ran track, they called it broken arrow. So just one leg is bent all the way in, the other leg is out straight. You can fold right through the center, or like we do in Ashtanga, you can fold towards the straight leg. Now you can have a floppy foot, no big deal, but if you're looking to stretch out the calf more, maybe flex that foot back towards the face. Even if you stay upright, you are still getting a nice active quad, nice long hamstring, stretching out the calf, and this doesn't look weird at all. So at least not to me, you're probably thinking, sure, Kelsey, totally. Now I don't think it looks that weird, but that's me. Make sure that you do the opposite side because we're always looking for that balance. And another one that you could do is a little bit of a twist. So I like to take one knee that's bent, the opposite will cross over, and then you can just kind of, a gentle twist as you're listening and paying attention to what your friend's talking about. And every now and then, you sit up nice and tall, twist through the spine, pull the low belly in, and make sure, as always, you do the other side. Now, if it's too much to take the ankle over the knee, you don't have to do that. You could just keep the ankle on the inside of that knee and still hug that knee in, sit up nice and tall, or you can make it a little deeper and take the elbow to the outside. The last one that I'm going to show you is a toe stand. So it's very much like we were doing in Heroes earlier, but you can even balance. So when you're up on your toes, you are definitely working the strength of the ankles and of the feet, even of the toes. And just sitting like this for a minute, I know sometimes when I'm talking to my kids and they're down getting their shoe on or they're loading up their backpack, sitting like this when I talk to them, I have my glutes right on my heels, my feet are totally working. But when you're only down here for 30 seconds and you're trying to explain something to a kid, it doesn't seem like you're doing much, but you're still working. You're still finding strength through the legs and through the feet. So anyway, those are a couple of seated positions that I would encourage you to start taking in your everyday life to get those legs, hips stronger, lengthened, more mobile, because that's what we're all about, is creating a nice, long, healthy life where you feel good in the skin that you are in. Let me know in the comment section what kind of seat you always take when you're hanging out with your friends. I'm almost always in a hero's pose. I don't usually sit between my feet. Like right now, I tend to cross my feet and take one foot on top of the other. I find that I'm in that position all the time. Either that or you catch me starting a video like this with one knee up. So tell me what you do in the comment section. Share that so that we can all just kind of start moving around in more of a yogic way in our normal everyday life. I love practicing with you guys. I hope you have an amazing day. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. Have a great day. Namaste.